Hi, my name's Rob, but that's not the point. The point of this video is photography 101 minus 1.1, which is photography 99.9.
Nobody cares.
Hey. They might care, because
nobody cares.
It's complicated, and it's photography, and it's before 101.
Nice maths.
It's creative.
Why should people listen to you?
Can you guys just go away, please? Thank you.
You're in your head.
Yeah, I know you're in my head. Doubts.
What is it?
There's thousands of videos, photography 101, which get complicated and talk about settings and all sorts of stuff. So what I want to do is create a video which is before photography 101. So photography 99.9, hence the joke. When you're starting photography, it is such a big thing to try to digest in your head. And the idea with this video is to give people who are just getting into it something to hang these ideas on. I might move over there. Hope those guys don't come back. So if you are new to photography and you're struggling to try to think about the enormity of it, or you're not sure where to get started, hopefully this will give you a framework to attach some of the ideas and concepts to, so that you are maybe less confused, or you can feel comfortable with the progress that you've made so far. You may have heard the expression that photography is a lifelong pursuit. The reason for that is because there's infinite combinations of the things you can create. At the end of the day, the final result is a picture, whether it's single image captured in the camera or something you've combined later on. At the end of the day, something is made. And working backwards from that, there are infinite combinations of how it can be made, where it can be made, what can be done. So to try to wrap your head around what you need to learn, and have you learned enough, essentially, if you're creating the final product, the thing that you're happy with, then that's all you need. If you're then starting to worry, do I need to learn other things? What about all these other settings or buttons that I don't know about? Well, hopefully this will give you some clarity around that. In summary, every time you learn something new in photography, it's another tool on the tool belt. It's another technique or another element that you can use to combine later on to make a photograph. So the question is, do you need all of those tools? Do you want all of those tools? And how do you even know which tools you do and don't have? So the easiest way, I think, is always to try to work from the end result backwards. If you look at an image that you see online or someone's created, do you know how it's made? Can you pick out the nuanced details? When you hear someone talking about photography, do you understand the terminology they're talking about? Aperture, shutter, f-stop, focal length. If these sorts of things are things that you're aware of, when you're looking at an image, you can probably work out how they made it. And that'll give you the confidence that you've got those tools on the tool belt. At the risk of making this way too complicated, I'm going to try to work with an analogy. Now, we probably have to get more intimate for this because analogies are a bit weird. Oh yeah. Oh, that's better. An analogy. Now, I know that analogies are always never 100% fit, but it's hard to talk about photography without talking about photography. And that's one of the things that I find difficult when you start to go down these rabbit holes of learning these tools. You start to hear words, you have to start researching, and then it can all become a bit of a mess. After a while, you start to realize how it all pieces together. But if you're watching this, I'm assuming it's early days for you, and therefore you need a bit of a framework. So here's my attempt at analogy for this. So let's simplify the process of building a house. Let's imagine there's just the foundations, the walls, windows, and the roof. Now, when you see a house out there and you say, I'm going to build that house, just like in photography, you're going to make a photograph. You can look at the house, work out what's needed, learn how to make those foundations, learn how to make those walls, learn how to make those windows, and learn how to make that roof. And when you put them all together, you've got the same house. Congratulations. Then you want to go out and create your own house. You can go to a different location, put all the same things together. You have your own house, different location. So these are kind of the equivalent of learning the techniques to make that type of house. Those elements that I talked about the house, the analogy breakdown would be, you've got the location, could match to the location for photography, going to different spots and shooting the same style image still produces beautiful, beautiful results. Foundations being, how well you know your camera and your aperture, ISO, shutter, sort of pyramid and exposure. The walls might be your lenses that you can choose. The windows might be like the lighting, whether it's ambient light or speed lights or whatever. And the roof could be your editing, the post-processing. So the analogy doesn't need to be exact. Because things are all intertwined together, when you try and change something, like you want to try to make a house again, but a slightly different window, you realize that that's got a dependency on the walls and the roof and the foundations. So you then have to go, oh, damn, I need to learn something is a little bit more complicated, that I can't just change the windows, it affects the structure of the house. And similar in photography, once you start changing one element, it affects other parts of the image. And so then in the pursuit of trying to create that second house, you start learning more tools for your tool belt to create the second image, because things don't work as you expect. And that constant trying to replicate, trying to create your own, try to change different elements, try to experiment, that's how you develop and learn the tools of the tool belt. You may not want some of those tools. You may only want to shoot natural light. You may not want to have more than one prime lens. You may not want to shoot manual on the camera. These are all sorts of things that's up to you. But rest assured that once you've come over that crest and you started to learn how to build a few houses, you're happy with that, then learning curve starts to, I think, plateau a bit until you deep dive into another area, for instance. So I think that when you're learning, it's good to learn the fundamentals. It is good to learn the photography 101. It is good to learn how things interlinked, how, for instance, your aperture affects your depth of field. Again, see these buzzwords? One little thing that I would like to mention is, don't think that if you learn the technical elements of photography that you are by any means going to impact your creativity. If you go out there and you're trying to shoot by numbers, I think that can make you not focus on composition. Advantages of digital photography, it means that you can essentially experiment with no cost except for your time. Yeah, so don't be afraid to learn the elements of photography and how they can help you with your composition. And I think one of the things that I found fun, or still find fun, is when I look at an image, I can appreciate it for its beauty, but also can look at it and think, wow, how did they do that? Was it because of the location? Did they Photoshop it? Was it because of the lens they used? Was it because they were compressed in using a zoom lens? Like all these sort of things I think are kind of fun. And the more tools you have on the tool belt, the more creative you can be combining them together, creating a very abstract, random house of your own. Hopefully this removes some of the summary over there. Let's go. Oh, okay. So hopefully this helped demystify photography a bit in sort of flattening what might seem like an endless curve into kind of what's really steep really at the start and then sort of plateaus. And you can learn, you don't have to learn anything. You can pick up a camera, shoot it totally automatic with a kit lens or a phone or a GoPro, anything, and make amazing images. Because you've heard before, it's not really about the gear. So hopefully this analogy makes you realize why that's so. It's because I'm not talking about which camera to do all this stuff. I'm just talking about the tools in the tool belt, which are understanding what you need to get the end result. And I think that is really the thing that is maybe not immediately obvious at first. So don't be afraid to learn new things. It won't affect the things you've learned before. Don't be afraid to get into the nitty-gritty of learning how things are related, because you might just find that those new little tools in the tool belt, whether it's lighting or technical elements to do with the camera, might help you make a unique and interesting picture. Thanks very much for watching. Again, my name is Rob, but that wasn't the point. The point was demystify photography. The point was photography 99.9, 101 minus 1.1. If you like this and you want me to make more videos like this, I'm trying to make something that I haven't found or seen online before. I don't necessarily want to replicate the things that are out there that people have done a million times better. But if you do enjoy these type of analogies, let me know, like and comment below. If you don't like it, leave a dislike. And thanks very much. I'm only new to this, so all the encouragement is very welcome. And hopefully this has helped at least one person. I can't just walk out. Dramatically, I've always wanted to like Star Trek fade out. Can I try that? Yep. Beam me up, mate. See ya! You guys coming or not? Come on. Hang on. Wait. Nobody's gonna watch this.